Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I am so excited to have everybody with us today. We have another exciting CybHER conversation happening. And we'll get to that in just a second. But before we get started, I want to just remind everybody that CybHER is out of Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota. And we're very excited to continue our programs to help educate, motivate, and empower girls in cybersecurity and technology. Although this program is open to all K-12 students, teachers, and parents, both boys and girls. We welcome you and we hope that you enjoy the program. Just for a little bit of ground rules, if you do have a question, please feel free to ask it at any time in the Q&A that you'll find at the bottom of the Zoom panel. And then we will ask that after Kelley has spoken. We'll have a Q&A portion there with our very own Comfy. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask those in the Q&A. But without further ado, I am going to introduce Kelley Criddle, who is an information security consultant and digital forensics analyst with SBS CyberSecurity, as well as a very good Dakota State University alumni and CybHER alum. So take it away, Kelley.
Awesome. I'm just going to share my screen for everyone to see here. So we're going to go like this, and then we are going to present. All right. So I'll wait a couple minutes just to see, make sure everyone can attend here. Make sure we can present well, and then Comfy, Katie, and Pam, if you could give me a nod if everything's okay. All right, perfect. Well, it looks like we're all up and we can start then. So first of all, I am so happy to be here. I absolutely love Dakota State University, and I love everyone who is putting on this broadcast here. I absolutely love CybHER. I'm very proud to say I was part of the club when I was back in my college days. So I am so excited just to go on with my presentation here, and we'll just dive in then. So first of all, if you haven't gathered yet, my name is Kelley Criddle, and I am currently 23 years old, and I am working at SBS CyberSecurity. But before we get into my professional details, I really want to touch on my personal life, because I think that's just as important, because I think every one of us has our own personal details to go through. So just a little collage here of a lot of people that are very important to me. We have my fiance, Kyle, and we have my best friends in the corner there. We have Comfy on our graduation day, and all my closest friends that I've been so fortunate to know. In the corner, we have my beautiful sister on her wedding day. That was an amazing memory for me. And as you can see, I have a basketball picture down there. And I was lucky enough to play basketball at Dakota State and throughout my entire childhood. So that's a really important part of me as well. And then we have my only child, my angel, Duchess, my kitty cat. So now you know a little bit more about me. We'll dive into the more technical side of things. So the other side of me is my professional side. And by no means, let's clarify, I do not think I am 100% grown up. I don't think I have everything figured out by any means. So I want to make that completely clear before we go any forward. But I did go to Roosevelt High School out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And during that time, and I want to emphasize this throughout the entire presentation here, I had absolutely no interest in cybersecurity. And I just want to emphasize to anyone out there who's watching this presentation, just because this isn't your knack now doesn't mean it's not going to be something that's super important to you in the future. And I think we're always growing, we're always learning new and important things. And I think as long as we keep on pushing ourselves and getting ourselves out of that comfort zone, as I like to call it, we're going to learn a lot about ourselves, and it may surprise you just what you're going to be really interested in. So in high school, absolutely no interest in information security. But moving on, I did go on to college at Dakota State University in Madison, South Dakota, and I was fortunate enough to get into the cyber field there. It took a couple classes to get my feet wet, and I absolutely fell in love with the entire field. I thought it was interesting, I thought it was challenging, I thought it was everything that I wasn't completely comfortable with, but I thought it was very interesting and I kept with it, and it turned out to be my knack. So I'm super happy about that. But I was able to get an internship with SBS CyberSecurity in May 2018. And from there, I was able to work with the company's network security team, which we did penetration tests, social engineering assessments, other things like that. And if you guys are interested in things like that, please let us know in the questions, and I can do a bit of a deep dive in there. But we're just going to cover it over now. But I then graduated from Dakota State University with a bachelor's degree, and that was in May of 2019. And I actually graduated with a network security and administration major with a CyberForensics minor. So I was lucky enough to get that, and I worked very hard. It was very challenging. I'll never say it was easy, but I'm very proud of that to this day. And I may go on to get my master's yet. That's undecided yet, but you know, I'm leaning towards the yes. So then after I graduated with my bachelor's, I went on to be hired full-time with SBS CyberSecurity. And that was right after I graduated. And ever since, I have been immersed into the consulting field. And so my official title is an information security consultant and a digital forensics analyst. And a lot of times when I tell my friends and family that, I get this look, okay? It's a lot of vowels. They're two very long words. I mean, like, it's just a lot coming at them, right? So we're gonna break down those two titles, and I'll actually go into what I do, okay, on a daily basis. All right, so first off, and majorly, I am an information security consultant, okay? And I do a lot of things throughout the day. I have a lot of jobs that I work with my clients on, but simply put, I help businesses make better cybersecurity decisions. And that's a big job to do, okay? So what I'll do, I'll meet with some clients weekly, sometimes multiple times a week, depending on how much they're in need of help of my assistance. Or it'll be every other week, every month. It depends on the client, but I will meet with them as much as the certain client needs. I go on to then and I build them a custom work plan, okay? And with this work plan, we work through the entire thing throughout the entire year. They have items on there such as, you know, penetration tests when you need to get those services done for them. They have other things such as, you know, a risk assessment, and SBS actually has a track database that we provide to our clients that they can use to help them keep on track with the amount of work that they do in the year. And from there, I help them and I assist with that. I do a lot of things, and it's not the most exciting part of my job, but it is a very key point. And what I learned throughout all of it is how to be a professional in this field, because that is half the battle going from college to the professional side of things. Basically, that is my desk job. That is my, you know, everyday go-to, my duties and how I help people out there. But then I also have another side of my job, which is a digital forensics analyst. So I am on the digital forensics team at SBS. Oops, I need to switch my slides. There we go. Digital forensics analyst with SBS. And so we actually make that acronym as DFIR, so the DFIR team there. And you might hear me mention that a couple times. And that just means digital forensics and incident response. So this is when we're going to assist customers who are experiencing any cyber incidents, and those that it can range from, you know, business account takeover, email account takeover, you know, ransomware, or other compromises such as that. We've even seen some insider fraud or theft of company data. So this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of things, and basically we're just trying to find out who did what, when, and how. Okay, so those are our questions that we're doing, and that would be probably the part of my job that I'm absolutely passionate about. I love consulting as well, but this just has some on me that I absolutely love, and I absolutely love to work with clients who are in need. We've had multiple ransomware scenarios, which is so ransomware is a type of virus that will go on some sort of device. If they get into a backdoor of the system, is what we like to call it, and they will essentially take all the data on that device and ask for a ransom, aka a payment, to get that data back. So what we do is we work with a lot of clients with trying to regain that data, and we try to help them just shut down their network as much as possible to try and stop the attackers from gaining that data. And one thing we like to really stress to our clients here at SBS is that all data is valuable. Okay, so all hackers are going to try and gain this data and sell it on the dark net and use it to their own advantage so that they can gain some money on their side of things. And these are people who do it for a living and who absolutely have a day job just like the rest of us, but unfortunately that is what they do on a daily basis. So, but we also have seen a lot of business email account takeovers lately. So that's when someone gains access to an email account and pretends to be that employee that they took over their account. They'll pretend to be them, or they'll go snooping through their mail, their mail inbox. There we go, words are hard. And they'll go through emails, kind of learn everything that they have there. Some companies have really sensitive data in that mailbox, so they'll take that for their own gain as well. They'll even send messages and pretend to be that user. So that's when things get really spooky. When employees go to work on a Monday and they look at their sent folder and they see they've sent all these emails late on a Friday, and I didn't do that. It sounds like me and it looks like me, but it's not me. So that's when things get super spooky. And we would come in, we would get those email logs, and we would see, okay, was there any remote access from any foreign countries, or even anywhere that the employee wouldn't be at the time. So those are just some like incidents there. And if those are things you guys are interested in, more stories, I would love to dive deeper into that. But that's basically what I do on a daily basis. I love working with people, and I absolutely love helping out people as much as possible. So with the consultant side, I get to deal with the more of policy and procedures and techniques of things, other than a digital forensics side of things, which is more of an emergency side of things. So I definitely get the best of both worlds on this cybersecurity world. And if you guys have any further questions, I love to dive in a little deeper, because I can go on forever about this stuff, but I know we're kind of limited on time. But other than that, I would turn it over to Conti for any questions. And thank you for coming to my little presentation there.
So Kelley, that was in no way a little presentation. We think what you do is so exciting. You're working two jobs, essentially two different roles that are kind of like worlds apart.
Yes. Yep.
So how do you manage that?
Oh man, that's a great question. So first of all, you know, as I mentioned, I grew up playing sports, and I absolutely love basketball, and I love sports of all kinds. And that's really taught me to manage my life and my time very well. I like to think I'm a very organized person. I think my coworkers can attest to this. They'll take a look at my calendar, and every single minute of the day is scheduled with what I should be working on when. And I tend to be kind of forgetful too. All my friends would know that about me. So I really like to put things in my calendar a couple days prior. So that way it's more scheduled out, and I can say, oh, yep, I got to work on that today. Oh, I got to work on that today. A lot of reminders. I write everything down. I log everything. And basketball has really assisted with me on that. And it's really, really taught me, you know, you got to stay focused when you're working on things, divide up your time as equally as possible, but take care of the most important things first. And that's something I like to pride myself on, is being as organized as possible. So.
You know, I can attest to that. You are very organized.
Thank you.
I've worked with you, I've seen you, and I know that you are extremely organized.
Thank you.
So, we have a question. So
Sure.
you mentioned DFIR, right? So what kind of technology do you use, like tools and software? What kind of tools do you use?
Absolutely. So what's really cool with the DFR team, we have an office here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's in the CNA building downtown. And we actually have a huge supercomputer, and it has terabytes of memory that we can use. And it's like an analyst's dream to have that, because you never can have too much space for all this data that you're going to have to sift through. But so a lot of times we use that main server for all of our forensics work, because we want to keep things as consistent as possible. So if cases do come to go to trial or some sort of legal issue, we can say, okay, we have a designated server. We do every single type of work that we have on there. If you guys want to look at it, you sure can, but it's not, you know, a personal device that we use just for everyday work. So we use that, and then from there, we mostly remote in, especially with the pandemic right now. We usually remote into that server, and we're free to use different desktops with like different cases. And from there, we use Axiom. And Axiom is a great, great tool. Absolutely love it. But we also use, like any other digital forensics analyst is going to know, we're going to use a lot of different tools. So we have things like FTK Toolkit we've used on some occasions, Redline, a lot of different cyber tools that we go into. Other ones that we really like, you know, is File Explorer, things like that. But Axiom has done a great job for us, especially during these business email compromise accounts. During those cases, Axiom has done a great job for us, and we use a lot of Excel too to build out those timelines, just to make sure everything is nice and concise with each other. So they're mainly virtual tools, if you will.
So how do you deal with ransomware?
Oh, great question. Great question. So first, ransomware is scary, and that's something we really have to keep in mind, especially with the user who detects it, you know, the very first time. It's shocking, but the other thing about ransomware is that it's destructive. So you need to act as soon as possible. And what we say at SBS CyberSecurity, and it's a very popular saying in this cybersecurity world and everywhere actually right now, is if you see something, say something immediately. So if you're on your computer and it's like 4:59 on a Friday and you just want to go home, it's a long weekend, if you see your computer acting kind of weird, like, you know, files ending in .crypt, for example, or .locked, things like that, that's something to really pay attention to, and you need to act right away. So one of the first things we kind of advise the client is obviously disconnect the device or computer to the internet, and from there we want to contain it as much as possible. So from there, you're going to want to see if any other workstation is infected, and then from there you're going to want to lock down the network as much as possible. So that means changing firewall rules and making sure nothing is leaving your network that you don't approve, right? And then you want to blacklist IPs. If there's foreign IPs connecting to that device, and you don't do business with France, you probably shouldn't be, you know, letting France into your guys' network. So those are the baseline things. But, you know, ransomware can take, it's a beast, and it can take a lot to fight. Buzz Hillstead is the lead of our digital forensics team, and oh man, he really attacks it super well. He's very good at keeping calm, and I think that's something about ransomware that's really important too. You need to keep calm and see if you can fight it, and you know, don't negotiate with terrorists. That's another one. So they're going to ask for a ransom. Make sure you have your cyber insurance put in place in case, you know, things do come to paying some sort of ransom. But from there, yeah, those would be our beginning steps. But other than that, you pretty much have to take it with how the waves come, and hopefully, you know, you take care of it one thing at a time. So
awesome. So what's the best part of your job?
Oh, I think the best part of my job is, you know, working with people first and foremost, and my coworkers. They're absolutely awesome. I love SBS as a company, and I love their mission and everything. But I'd say for work-wise, my favorite thing to do, of course, you can probably guess it, is forensics. And lately I've been spoiled and been able to work on a lot of cases and to find some evidence for cases that we're currently working on. So I'd say anytime I get to work on any type of forensics is the best part of my job. So
did you ever have a really tough time trying to figure something out with DFIR? And what did you do to solve that problem?
Yeah, oh gosh, story of my life. And that's something I really love about forensics too. It's very challenging. Same with consulting. Everything that I do on a daily basis is challenging. And something I really like to do and like to tell people is, you know, don't hesitate to ask for help. And my coworkers will be a big attest to that. You know, if I don't know how to do something, and if I feel like I can't do it to my best ability without asking this question, I'm going to ask a question. And that is something I really like to do. You know, use your resources as much as possible. But of course, do research on your own too. Just don't expect people to, you know, come at you with answers and just make it easy. You should work for it yourself too. So do as much research as you can. I run into issues with tools on almost every time I try and do anything with them sometimes. So, you know, a little bit of troubleshooting, that always works too. You know, just using your resources as much as possible. That's what I usually do. And usually it turns out okay every time, so.
So has the pandemic, have you seen that the pandemic increased, decreased, or in any other ways changed these cyber attacks?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with our personal DFIR team, we see an increase right now. Right now we've had a huge spike in business email compromises. So right now is you know, and Buzz even said they're just getting started with their summer shenanigans. So summer is usually, you know, an up time with the hackers. Not quite sure why. You know, they just kind of have a time that they really like to, you know, take advantage of. But unfortunately, during a pandemic, yes, we're seeing a huge rise in phishing emails. So they'll send out emails to, you know, employees trying to get in through, have them, you know, click on a link, enter their credentials, whatever it is. And unfortunately, adversaries like that do like to take advantage of, you know, unfortunate situations like we are in the pandemic. So, so yes, I would say absolutely the pandemic has increased attacks quite a bit. So that's why I'm just reminding, you know, my clients and, you know, everyone out there, you know, be careful with what you click on. Be sure, you know, this email is an expected email and you know the person, and make sure it just doesn't look, you know, fishy at all. You know, look for any misspellings or any, study those email addresses, make sure they're accurate. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call the sender themselves at a number that you know them by, because from there you can verify if the email is safe or not. It's better safe than sorry than clicking on some foreign IPs, foreign addresses.
You mentioned summer is usually when they're most active. Maybe it's because it's nice outside.
Maybe, who knows?
So during school, did you get a scholarship?
I did, yes. I was very fortunate to get a basketball scholarship to play at Dakota State University, and that's what first kind of caught my eye to look at the university in the first place, because, you know, I had no interest in information security at that time in high school. So yeah, I did receive a basketball scholarship, but I also received other academic scholarships as well. And that's something I am pretty proud of, and that was, you know, a great accomplishment, and it helped a lot, you know, to get some money to help me on those student loans that I'm feeling right now. So, but yes, I did. I received a couple scholarships.
So how did you choose where you wanted to do cybersecurity at?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So as anyone who kind of is interested in the cybersecurity field, you have a lot of options once you do get a degree. And, you know, I did my internship with SBS, and I was very lucky to get that opportunity. And, you know, I never looked back really after that. I absolutely loved the company. I loved, you know, what they stood for, and all the coworkers were awesome, and they helped me with, and I learned a lot, and I absolutely just loved the environment. So, and they also did, you know, I did receive a scholarship with them during school also, that kept me interested. And yeah, they're a great company. So I just decided, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it, and keep on going with, you know, a company that's supported me and taught me quite a bit. So that's how I decided where to go. But there's a lot of places online that you could look. Make sure you're, you know, getting your LinkedIn profile all geared up and your resumes all up to date, and you know, go to a bunch of job fairs. That helped me as well, kind of narrow down what I was interested in. And job fairs were great, and internships, because without my internship, I'm not sure if I would have known that SBS was such a great fit for me. So yeah.
Do you mainly work alone, or are you a part of a team?
I am part of a team, and with my consulting role, I do work mainly, by myself on, when interacting with the client. But I do, we like to say that we are, more than just one consultant. We're a team of 65 people who, if I can't answer a question for one of my clients, I know one of my coworkers can, and I absolutely love that team attitude. I grew up with a team attitude, and through basketball, I got very used to the team mindset of things. And on the digital forensics team, we do call it the DFIR team, because we are a team. And whenever we learn something new or find a cool article, you can find people at SBS always sharing cool stuff that they found and sending out mass emails to a bunch of employees just to keep everyone as informed as possible. And that's great because people at SBS absolutely love their jobs, and even on the weekends, they're reading all these cool articles. They're, doing stuff to elevate their level of knowledge. And I think that's just what you do when you absolutely love something. You don't mind, doing some extra work, or even just on your weekends. It's a fun thing to do. So, yeah, absolutely. It is a team attitude, and I'm completely okay with that. I do work better in teams.
So what classes would you suggest taking in high school if someone wanted to pursue a career in cybersecurity?
Yeah, great question. So in high school, my high school did offer cybersecurity type classes and coding classes, and I would encourage coding. Guys, get as geared up with coding as much as possible. I wish more than anything I had a superpower, and it was coding. And I have tried my best to get as accustomed as possible with it. It's just not my knack. And but I really do think if I would have started at a younger age, I would have absolutely loved to code. So I would encourage at least a coding class. See what you can do. And if your high school doesn't offer those classes, there's plenty of classes you can take online to get accustomed with. And a lot of them sometimes are free. So that's always a great option also. So any coding classes, any network security classes, I have to rep my degree there. Guys, technology isn't going away, right? In fact, it's just going to get even more prominent throughout, like the future, so we might as well be on the good guys' team, and try and help combat any adversaries trying to come in. And I would say coding and network security, any routing classes, you can take great classes also. So I would say my number one probably would be coding, because I wish I was a coder.
So we have two questions that are kind of similar. So what would you like to do for the rest of your career? Or what are your goals for the rest of your career? Like, where do you want to end up as?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I had no interest in information security. And I'm just as shocked as anybody that I got into this field. But, looking at, my 5-year or 10-year plan, I like to think I have a lot of growth yet, right? So I really want to keep on growing my skills. I'd really like to get in touch with those places I'm not as good at, and try and get in those as much as possible. But where I would like to end up, obviously stay that digital forensics route. And I would like to get into, helping, not only businesses with situations, but, people also. So individual families who may have been affected by an unfortunate scam, or a family or someone's been cyberbullied, we need to find, other things like that. So I would love to get into those type of situations and help, individuals, and, kind of grow as much as I can in the digital forensics field.
So our last question for you, based on what you said about coding. So what coding language do you deal with the most?
So I don't deal with a lot of coding on a daily basis at all, but I would say probably, I've seen Python quite a bit, and C++. So those would be those two languages that I thankfully can read pretty well. I just can't write pretty well. So.
Thank you for answering all these questions, Kelley. I'm
Thank you,
sure
guys.
you've answered them wonderfully. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kelley, for coming on and joining us today and being today's featured cybersecurity professional. We are so excited that you were able to join us and share about your job and how you got there. Now, I do want to start up a poll for everybody while we just finish out today's session. So you should be seeing a poll. If you can answer that, that would be great, just to provide us with more information about the people who are attending our events. But also, please join us next Wednesday. We will be announcing our entire July lineup coming here by this Friday. But next Wednesday, we'll be featuring Matt Paulson, who is an entrepreneur and has a pretty amazing story on the companies that he has developed, as well as his angel investing that he does. So we're looking forward to featuring him, and we hope that you will join us again next week for another exciting CybHER conversation, meeting other great cybersecurity and technology professionals. But thank you so much to Kelley. You all can watch or find out more about CybHER on our website, as well as by following us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a lot of great new videos that you can see for all age groups that we are so excited. We have wonderful staff working to make those and put those up there. And if you ever have ideas of things that you would like to see, please shoot us an email or submit information, connect with us on our social media. But thank you, and we look forward to seeing everybody again next week.